Our graduation trip bus got stranded in a valley outside Asheville. A landslide had blocked the only road out. I looked up at the darkening sky and felt my stomach drop. I turned to my classmates. There might be a mudslide here. We need to climb up the ridge right now. It's not too late. Madison's face lit up with excitement instead of fear. A mudslide? That sounds incredible. I want my graduation photos with that as the background. Her boyfriend nodded, already pulling out his phone. The rest of the class started agreeing with her, one by one. I couldn't just stand there and let the whole class die. So I smashed Madison's camera. I forced everyone toward the ridge. Halfway up the slope, a branch scratched her cheek. Just a tiny cut. She burst into tears anyway. She threw herself into her boyfriend's arms, sobbing. The class president, jealous of how I looked, pulled a knife and slashed my face. Ryan saw the blood and lost it. He shoved me to the ground. A boulder came down and crushed both my legs. I begged him not to leave me there. He just held Madison and walked away. "Climb up yourself." That was the last thing he said. I watched the mudslide swallow me whole. My body was crushed under the rocks. When I opened my eyes again, it was the same morning. Madison was suggesting the photo shoot all over again. I curled my lips into a smile. "Go ahead, take your pictures. You only get one youth. Might as well have no regrets. This angle is perfect. When the mudslide hits, get my best side." Madison's voice was syrupy in my ear, dripping with charm. I looked down at my own body. Whole, unbroken. Was I really back? Had I actually been reborn? "Hey, Emma, get a group shot of me and Ryan later, okay?" Madison looped her arm through my boyfriend's, grinning like she'd won something. I ignored her and walked straight to the bus for my backpack. My uncle was a wilderness guide. He'd heard we were heading through the mountains, so he'd packed my bag with emergency gear without telling me. With this kind of equipment, I could survive alone up there for days. I just had to wait for the rescue teams to come. I looked back at my classmates, posing in little clusters for photos. A bunch of fools, I thought. In 1 hour, this valley would be a grave. "Hey, class president, how about a full class photo right in the mudslide?" Madison asked it with a smile, and a wave of boys cheered before I could even respond. Whoa, a photo in an actual mudslide? That's insane. Madison really does have the best taste. A roaring wall of mud as our background. We'll go viral for sure. Even Ryan, usually so composed, looked impressed. I smiled and nodded. "Go ahead, take your pictures." A few of the girls looked nervous. They asked if it was really safe. Don't be such cowards. We're standing on the highway. The mudslide will just flow through the channel next to us. We're only using it as a backdrop. What could go wrong? The girls relaxed and went back to posing. I glanced at that channel and almost laughed. None of them had any idea what a real mudslide could do. When it hit, that channel would be gone in seconds. The highway under their feet wouldn't survive either. "Hey, Emma, I forgot a tripod. Can you take our photo?" Madison's face showed just a flicker of difficulty, but her eyes were gleaming. A class photo with me left out. Pure provocation. I didn't want to argue. I just wanted to get away from there. "I'm heading up the ridge. You all take your own photos." Ryan frowned at me. "Emma, why are you always like this? Everyone's having fun, and you have to go off alone." I rolled my eyes. "You're so social. Stay and take the pictures then." I pulled a trekking pole from my bag and turned to climb. No way. Ryan has to be in the group photo. Madison blocked my path. Ryan's face darkened too. "Emma, you're so selfish. You'd really let the whole class miss their graduation photo just to climb a mountain? Do you even deserve to be class president?" I let out a short, bitter laugh. The same old guilt trip. In my last life, I worked myself ragged as class president. I tutored the kids who were falling behind. I spent my own lunch money feeding the ones who couldn't afford food. I did chores for classmates who were too busy. For 3 straight years, I took the blame so weaker kids wouldn't get bullied. I was responsible for every single one of them. And in my last life, they watched the mudslide take me. Some of them actually laughed about it. Serves her right. She always acted like some kind of savior. Look where that got her. I closed my eyes and pushed the anger down. We already graduated. I'm not the class president anymore. I'm just Emma. 3 years. It's time to put that weight down. Ryan looked at me, surprised. You're acting strange today. Weren't you always the one who cared most about being president? But since you've clearly decided you're not cut out for it, put Madison's name down as class president on the photo. She's more popular than you anyway. Whatever. I turned to walk away. Wait. A boy's voice stopped me. You only got that physics competition spot because you were president. That's what got you the recommendation to a top university. Now that you're stepping down, give that spot to Madison. I stared at him, stunned by the twisted logic. My teacher recommended me because I was good at physics. I got that recommendation after winning first place nationally. What did being class president have to do with any of it? Ryan coughed awkwardly. If Madison were president, the teacher would write for her too. I looked at him like he'd lost his mind. She scored a 20 on her last physics exam. Her GPA isn't even close. Are you serious right now? Ryan went quiet, his face turning red. I laughed. I actually laughed until tears ran down my face. Ryan, my boyfriend, the boy who clawed his way out of a small town just like me, the boy who studied until 2 a.m. by my side, under a sky full of fireflies. He once told me I was his equal, his soulmate. And now he was using the most pathetic excuse to throw away 12 years of my hard work. He knew exactly how much I'd sacrificed to get here. That gentle boy I remembered had rotted from the inside, and I never even noticed. Madison stepped in to smooth things over. It's fine, Emma. Just take some pretty pictures of me, and I'll forgive you. I wiped my eyes and laughed coldly. Pictures? How about I take your funeral portrait instead? Madison's face went red, then white with fury. Ryan's eyes turned to ice in an instant. He grabbed my wrist. Hard. Apologize. Right now. The pain in my wrist only made me angrier. I didn't say anything wrong, I told him. These photos are going to end up hanging in a memorial. The second those words left my mouth, everyone turned to stare. Madison covered her mouth, looking horrified. Emma, I just wanted a group photo and you're cursing us to die? How could you be so cruel? We've been classmates for 3 years. I tried to explain, but the crowd surrounded me before I could speak. A few of the boys shoved me, muttering threats under their breath. You think the teachers still protect you? You've got a death wish. Hey, genius. Your taste in girlfriends is pretty pathetic. How does someone like her even compare to Madison? Ryan's face went completely cold. Apologize. To everyone. I lifted my eyes and swept them across the crowd. I'm just telling the truth. Why should I apologize? We've been classmates for 3 years, so here's some free advice. Leave this valley right now. This second, you might still be able to change what's coming. The crowd went silent for a moment. Then it broke into sharp, mocking laughter. Emma, who do you think you are? Some kind of prophet? Now that we've graduated, nobody has time for your hero act. 3 years of being class president really went to your head. You're nothing but a small-town nobody. I sighed. Good advice is wasted on people who refuse to hear it. I stopped wasting my breath and kept climbing. A few minutes later, I heard Madison shouting, My camera is missing." A commotion broke out below as everyone searched for it. They looked everywhere and found nothing. Madison bit her lip and glanced up at me. I asked Emma to take a picture for me earlier. Every eye turned to the black backpack on my shoulders. "Emma, hand over the camera?" A boy shouted up at me. I was already dozens of feet up the slope and couldn't make out the words. I just kept climbing, focused, ignoring the noise below. Madison's voice cracked. "Is she hiding my camera? My dad imported that for my birthday. How do I explain losing it?" A few of the bigger guys started climbing after me, furious. Ryan was right behind them. "Stop right there." A tall boy grabbed me by the collar. "Hand over Madison's camera." "What camera?" I had no idea what he was talking about. Ryan stared at my heavy backpack. "What's in there?" "Open it." I clutched the bag tightly against my chest. This was my survival gear. I couldn't give it up. That only made Ryan more convinced I was hiding something. His eyes narrowed. "Hand it over." Now, I tried to reason with him. "This is mine." Before I could finish, he yanked the bag straight out of my arms. I lost my balance. I tumbled down the slope, dozens of feet hitting the highway below. Pain tore through my entire body. Every joint felt wrong. Oh my God, is she dead? What bad luck. If she's dead, just throw her in the river. The mudslide will bury her anyway. Ryan came down and looked at me. Lying there bleeding, he wrinkled his nose in disgust and kicked me. "Wake up. Stop faking it." I forced myself upright through the pain and glared at him. "Give me back my bag." Madison grabbed it and dumped everything onto the ground. "Huh? It's not in here? Did I misremember?" "Oh, right." I hung the camera on a tree branch. She shot Ryan a coy little glance. "It's your fault, really. You kept kissing me, so my hands were busy." Ryan laughed and tapped her nose. "You little tease." She turned to me, all fake sweetness. "Emma, sorry you fell like that." The apology was so insincere, I could see right through it. Ryan jumped in to defend her. "Madison didn't mean it. And if you hadn't stolen anything, you could have just explained yourself. This should teach you a lesson." I crouched down, gathered my things back into my bag. Then I walked over to Madison and slapped her across the face. An apology should come with an actual apology. Ryan grabbed her, his eyes turning cold. "Emma, have you lost your mind?" I slapped him too, just as hard. "Take that as a lesson for yourself." His face went dark with fury. "Emma, you've really done it now." I saw the situation turning and ran. "Grab her." Two boys clamped down on my arms. Ryan stared straight at me. "Since you can't think clearly, let the river sober you up." He gestured, and they threw me straight into the channel. Panic surged through me. The channel only held a trickle of murky water. That meant the upstream path was already choked with debris. The mudslide could hit any minute. There was no time to waste here. I scrambled back toward the bank, but Ryan kicked me back in. "Apologize to Madison." Every time I tried to climb out, someone kicked me back down. No apology, no exit. The whole class lined the edge, watching. "How dare you hit the class beauty? You've got some nerve." A low rumble echoed through the valley. Boulders crashing somewhere upstream. 3 minutes, maybe less. Sweat poured down my face. I swallowed my pride. "Madison, I'm sorry." I shouted it as loud as I could. Madison looked smug. An apology should look like an apology. Get on your knees. Bow to me 3 times and I'll forgive you. I gritted my teeth and dropped, pressing my forehead against the rock. A warm trickle of blood ran down my brow. "Is that enough?" Madison laughed. "Not enough. Say you're my dog." My eyes burned and my fists shook at my sides. "Madison, don't push this too far. Looks like you need more time in that river." Before she could finish, a massive roar tore through the valley. The ground shook violently. "Run. The mudslide is here." I screamed it and bolted. Adrenaline took over. My legs moved faster than I thought possible. I didn't look back at the people behind me, swept away in the mud. I didn't listen to the screams. Survive, Emma. You have to survive. Eventually, my legs gave out, and I collapsed to the ground. Rain poured down in sheets. Lightning split the sky. I was high enough up to be safe from the mudslide's path. I found a small cave, gathered dry branches, and started a fire. I changed into a dry set of clothes from my bag. The exhaustion finally caught up with me, and I fell asleep. Voices woke me. Search carefully. Check for anyone trapped. A man's voice. Calm and steady. The rescue team had found me. I stumbled toward the cave entrance, my throat raw. I'm here. It barely came out as a whisper. A man in a National Guard uniform stood in front of me. All the fear I'd been holding in broke loose at once. I threw my arms around him and sobbed. Thank God, I'm saved. He stood there, stunned, not sure what to do with his hands. After a minute, I managed to calm down. Sorry, I got emotional. He waved it off. It's fine. He looked young, maybe early 20s, with a kind, open face. Are you out here alone? I nodded. I'm Emma. He paused. I'm Daniel. Is anyone else trapped out here? I thought of my classmates, swept away in the mud, and my chest tightened. I told him everything. He radioed it in immediately, his voice serious. Don't worry. We'll send a team downstream right away. I shook my head. Let fate decide. I didn't want soldiers risking their lives for people like that. Daniel led me toward the nearest shelter. Along the way, I saw how fragile everything really was. The mud had only just started to recede. Storefronts were twisted into wreckage. Glass and debris everywhere. A month of relentless rain had caused the worst slide this region had seen in a century. So many people had died. I wish I could have saved more, Daniel said, his voice tight. I let out a breath. We rebuild. We let people keep living here. That's what the ones we lost would have wanted. Daniel wiped his eyes. I'm too soft for this job. I shook my head. That's just basic compassion. Nothing wrong with that. At the shelter, I almost didn't recognize Madison and Ryan. Madison's face was covered in scars, a bandage soaked through with blood. Ryan was worse. His shins were shattered, the bone visible through torn skin. He'd passed out from the pain. The shelter had no real medical equipment. Whether he'd survive was still a question. Out of 30 classmates, only 10 had been found, and every one of them was badly hurt. The rest, finding their bodies would be a stroke of luck. It was fate, I told myself. Daniel thought I was grieving and tried to comfort me. We'll keep searching. They'll be okay. I shook my head. After this many hours, survival odds are basically zero. Put your resources toward the living. Every classmate on a cot turned to stare at me. Emma, how dare you say that about our classmates? You call yourself class president? You're basically committing murder. I stayed calm and laid out the facts. For someone swept away in a mudslide, the rescue window is 30 minutes. After 6 hours, survival odds are nearly zero. Count it. How long has it been since you went under? One of them did the math. 12 hours, he admitted. You should be thanking the soldiers who risked their lives for you. Without them, you wouldn't even have a body to find. Emma, this is your fault. Madison screamed and lunged at me. Her face twisted with rage, like she wanted to tear me apart. I held my ground. Daniel stepped in front of me, shielding me. Why are you completely fine? Madison's voice was shrill. You wanted us to climb earlier. Did you know this was coming? I shrugged. I told you all back in the valley. You didn't believe me. Is that my fault? It's you. It's all because of you. The room erupted. Everyone's anger finding a new target. Me. You're so selfish, abandoning the class to save yourself. We're gonna sue you. You'll be charged with attempted murder. Daniel's face hardened. What are you all talking about? If Emma hadn't warned you, you'd all be dead. She's the reason any of you survived. Madison scoffed. If she'd led us to shelter from the start, none of this would have happened. Now that we're hurt, she has to pay for it. I warned you all to evacuate. It was you who suggested the photo shoot in the first place. Madison stammered. I asked your opinion as president, and you agreed. If you'd said no, we wouldn't have stayed. I asked her calmly. Madison, how old are you? 18, she snapped. Are you blind? Funny. I thought you were 8 months old. Her face flushed with rage, the cut on her cheek splitting open again. We're all adults here. You're responsible for your own choices. I'm not your parent. I never agreed to manage you. Madison screamed and lunged at my face, nails out. Daniel caught her wrists and twisted them back. Keep your hands to yourself. Ryan, lying on a cot nearby, weakly reached a hand toward me. Emma, save me. I'm not a doctor, I told him flatly. I can't heal you. I could end your suffering, though. That much I could do. Daniel went to find a doctor. I looked down at Ryan. Don't worry, you're not dying just yet. He managed a weak smile. Talking to you makes the pain fade. You're my painkiller. I felt a chill of disgust. I'd never noticed how hollow he really was. A boy nearby spoke up. Ryan, back her up here. Emma ran off and got us all hurt. At least defend Madison. She ruined her face. At the mention of Madison's name, Ryan's expression shifted completely. He stared at her with something close to murder in his eyes. Madison shrank back into the crowd, suddenly looking guilty. Ryan, thank you for saving me, she said quietly. Ryan let out a low, chilling laugh. Madison, come here. She froze, refusing to move. A boy shoved her forward. Go on, let him deal with Emma for you. She stumbled and fell against his cot. Their eyes met, and pure terror crossed her face. I was wrong, she scrambled backward. Then die, Ryan growled, lunging and grabbing her by the throat. The room froze. Then chaos broke out. I shouted for help, and people rushed in to pull them apart. Later, Daniel told me what had actually happened up there. After the slide hit, Ryan had carried Madison on his back, fleeing for higher ground. They reached a rock outcrop, but it started shifting under their combined weight. He realized it wouldn't hold both of them. Madison, we need to. Before he could finish, she shoved him hard from behind. He was thrown off the ledge, and a boulder crushed his legs on the way down. Why? He demanded in disbelief. Madison's face went pale. I'm sorry. I panicked. I didn't think. Before he could process it, the mudslide surged toward them. Madison, pull me up, he begged. She turned and ran without looking back. Please, don't leave me, he called after her. She stopped for a second. He thought maybe she'd come back. Instead, she kicked loose rocks toward him, burying him further. The last thing he heard before blacking out was her voice. I won't let anyone ruin my reputation. If you die, none of this gets out. I stood there, stunned. I'd known Madison wasn't a good person. I never imagined she could be this ruthless. Ryan carried her to safety, and she tried to kill him for it. It was pure luck that a rescue team found him before he died. No wonder he wanted to strangle her the moment he woke up. A volunteer found me later, looking troubled. A guy's asking for you. He won't take no for an answer. I walked over to find Ryan, pale, lying in his cot. Emma, I had a nightmare. You got swept away by the mudslide. I woke up in a cold sweat. I crossed my arms. And did you dream why I was swept away? He shifted, guilt flashing across his face. It was Madison. She framed you, so you kicked me into the mudslide for revenge. No, wait, I'd never do that. It was just a dream. Don't read into it. Look, you're standing right here. I sneered inwardly. That wasn't a dream. That was my actual life. The pain of my legs being crushed was burned into my memory. Every night I relived it. My body smashed under rocks. That couldn't be brushed off as just a dream. Ryan took my hand, his eyes suddenly full of fake affection. Emma, I was wrong. Going through this made me realize you're the only one who actually cares. Let's stop fighting. I'll be devoted to you from now on. We'll get married after graduation, just like we promised. I yanked my hand away in disgust. Ryan, we're done. He laughed softly, like he found that cute. You don't mean that. Remember that summer night, under all those fireflies? We swore we'd be soulmates for life. Shut up, I cut him off. I remember all of it. But did you keep your word? When you hurt me over and over for Madison's sake? When you pushed me off that slope? When you threw me in the river again and again? Did any of that feel like keeping a promise to me? No. You looked at me like I was your enemy. He avoided my eyes, guilt written across his face. Then, like a sudden idea struck him. His voice rose. Emma, it was all Madison. She's the one who drove a wedge between us. I wish I could kill her right now. I won't go near another girl again. I swear it. I laughed, cold and humorless. Ryan, you're a hypocrite. You'll do the damage, but you won't own it. I despise you. If you'd never given her room, she never could have come between us. You're just a selfish player who wanted unconditional love to feed his ego. The moment someone better came along, you'd have dropped me without a second thought. He reached for my hand. Emma? No. I turned away in disgust and walked toward the door. Ryan, you don't deserve my love. Once the roads cleared, Ryan and the others were sent to the hospital. None of their conditions were good. Madison had a concussion, and the trauma had cracked something deeper in her mind. Her family eventually had her committed to a psychiatric facility. The rest of the class walked away with permanent injuries. Hands, feet, eyes. Some of them would carry disabilities for the rest of their lives. Ryan had it worst. His legs couldn't be saved. They were amputated. He'd spend the rest of his life in a wheelchair. He couldn't accept it. He tried to take his own life more than once. His parents started tying him down at home, terrified to look away for even a second. He never even got to go to college. The small town he'd worked so hard to escape became his entire world. I heard all this on my second day, volunteering at the shelter, clearing mud with a shovel. Daniel handed me a water bottle and wiped sweat from my forehead. What are you thinking about? You look happy. I felt my cheeks warm up. Nothing, I said. Daniel smiled. Has anyone ever told you you're a really good person? I gave him a confused look. He went on. Disasters reveal who people really are. I could tell you had real conflicts with your classmates, even hatred, but you still gave them a chance to survive. Some of them just didn't take it. He looked up at the clear sky after the storm, pointing at birds in the distance. Some people aren't worth your energy. Break free and fly toward something new. The past can either be a nightmare that eats away at you, or it can become the blade that cuts through the illusion. It's really just a matter of choice. Something in me settled at that. It's time to let go, I said quietly. Not forgiveness, just letting it go. No more energy wasted on rotten things. Daniel took a sip of water and asked, almost casually, was that Ryan guy your boyfriend? I shook my head quickly. No, not at all. Don't believe the rumors. We broke up a long time ago. Daniel's eyes lit up like he was holding back a smile. He's not worth you. You deserve better. My ears went warm. I think you're pretty great too, I whispered. What? My face flushed even deeper. Nothing, I said. Daniel's expression softened. I heard that. But a confession should come from the guy. He pressed my hand to his chest. I could feel his heart pounding. Emma, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend? I lowered my eyes and nodded. Okay. He pulled me into a hug, grinning. From now on, you can't just hug random guys in uniform and cry on them. I felt my face heat up at the memory of how we met. I was a little overwhelmed back then, I admitted. I wasn't thinking straight. Do you know what I was thinking? He asked. What? I was thinking this girl cries messy. She got snot all over my shirt. I reached up and pinched his lips shut. Okay, that's enough out of you. He laughed, pulling free. Kidding. What I was really thinking was, I hope she smiles like this in my arms from now on. College started a few months later. New campus, new faces, all of it brimming with energy. Everyone in my new class was kind. I made real friends. It had been a long time since I'd dreamed about the mudslide. Those memories were finally starting to fade. When my advisor asked if I wanted to be class president again, I said yes without hesitating. I wasn't going to let my past seal off who I really was. I loved helping people. Watching someone grow because of something I did, that filled me up. Over 4 years, I organized everything. Events, fundraisers, competitions. We won more awards than I could count. By graduation, every single one of my classmates had a job they actually loved. They told me having me as class president was the best part of college. I really do think there are more good people in this world than bad ones. On graduation day, Daniel set up a whole proposal in the courtyard. He got down on one knee, ring in hand. Emma, you promised we'd get married after graduation. You can't back out now. I laughed, blushing, and said yes. The whole class cheered around us. Happiness, I think, is having someone who shares your values and a room full of people who actually care about you. We were still young. A heart can hold onto hate, but it can also choose to give love instead.